Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie and I'm back with another Marvel Contest of Champions video. So thanks to the CCP, I had early access to the champion spotlight for Immortal Abomination. So let's take a look at this guy and see what all he's got going for him, because I gotta say, he's got some pretty interesting things. So let's go ahead and get it started. So let's take a look at About Abomination. So in an attempt to study gamma mutation and weaponize it, leader of the US Hulk Operations Program, General Reginald 14 teleported aboard Gamma Flight's orbital base with the goal of taking back the husk of Abomination's body. In a moment of curiosity, 14 touched the Abomination's remains, quickly becoming engulfed by the husk and transforming into a ruthless new abomination tied to a mystical force known as the One Below All. Ooh, sounds creepy. All right, so let's take a look at his mechanics. Immortal Abomination focuses on stacking poisons on himself to use as resources. Incoming nodes or foes that place poisons on him will power him up even farther. Each poison on Abomination will passively make him more tanky. However, they can also be spent to fuel his toxic aura, allowing him to output massive poison and acid damage onto his opponent. Using Special 2 to activate the toxic aura and looping Special Attack 1 to upkeep it for as long as possible is Abomination's core rotation. So I have a feeling when this guy's in the event quest, he might be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So it's probably going to be to your best interest to bring a poison immune champ against him. Now, having someone like Warlock, if you bring the synergy with him where you get a fury every time you get a debuff that he's immune to applied, might actually be the way to go for this. It's hard to say, but bringing a poison immune champ is definitely going to be the way to go. You know, Captain Sparkles, Hype, Warlock, any one of those. Bringing someone who takes poison damage, ooh, that's going to be a bit rough. And you're not going to want to use Claire against him, because if she places a poison on him, that's just going to fuel him more, even though she's immune to it. So it's going to be an interesting fight against him this month, that's for sure. So now let's take a look at his stats. He's tanky, man. Look at that health. They do seem to be right around the 10,640 of the last couple champs have for prestige wise. He's got decent attack, but man, he is tanky. Look at that. I mean, dude is a tank. All right, so obviously he's going to be a science class, and his basic abilities are he's going to have acid burn, weakness, petrify, and poison. So let's talk about his strengths. High damage potential. Abomination excels at high damage output, especially in places where he can inflict poisons on his opponents. Blocking multi-hit attacks. This is interesting. So while poisoned, blocked attacks will weaken the opponent for 2 seconds. Although this is short, it can stack multiple times, meaning attacks with a lot of hits in a small window, such as Doom's Special 1, can be blocked easily and deal little chip damage. So it seems like he might actually be a really good counter then to Doom. So hopefully that's the case, because I know a lot of people sometimes still have problems with dexting Doom's Special 1. I know I'm about hit or miss. All right, healing suppression. Lots of poisons means very little healing for the opponent, but if that isn't enough for your liking, Petrify can drive the healing down even farther. So basically, if you have Petrify, you're gonna reverse heal. So that's pretty awesome. And block breaking. Oh, everyone's favorite mechanic. Acid burn allows many free openings into an opponent who is playing passively. So that's always fun. So now that we know about his strengths, let's talk about some of his weaknesses. So poison immunity. Obviously, it seems like Immortal A-Bomb definitely relies heavily on poisoning the opponent. So like I said before, for this month's event quest, we're gonna wanna bring in someone who is basically poison immune, and also debuff purification. So opponents who purify debuffs will make stacking 10 poisons take a lot longer, and thus cause acid burn to take a lot longer to trigger. So even Mole Man might actually be all right. I didn't want to say it, but I said it. Always inflicted with a debuff. Abomination will almost always have a poison on him, and this can make him extremely vulnerable in certain scenarios, such as when fighting Void. So this will make Void shine. We all know Void really stands out when the opponent is inflicted by a debuff of some sort. Even if you've just come across a Void in the arena and you're running suicides, it can be a bit of a nail biter sometimes, right? and crit hits and damaging effects. Each poison on Abomination grants physical resistance, and this can make him quite tanky. Critical hits bypass 80% of physical resistance, and most damaging effects will bypass it entirely, making him especially vulnerable there. So it seems like he's also only poison immune, so if you can put some DOT on him, then, you know, that or not really poison immune, rather. So if you can put some DOT on him, you should be pretty all right. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of his abilities. So passive. Oh, he is poison immune. There you go. Take 100% less damage from poison effects, and recovery reduction from poison is 50% less effective. Each poison will still reduce the effectiveness of healing on Abomination, but at half the rate that poisons normally reduce it. This allows Abomination to heal via the willpower mastery quite a bit, even while suffering from multiple stacks of poison. This is the same as like Silver Surfer's Cold Snap, or not Silver Surfer's Cold Snap, excuse me, but Silver Surfer with his immunities, and also something like Storm Pyramid X when you have her in the Lightning Tempest when it comes to shock, or even Omega Red's Bleed, especially if you run Coagulate. All right, now let's take a look at this corrosive poisons. Contact with the opponent has a 15% chance to inflict them with a poison debuff, dealing X damage over 25 seconds and reducing health recovery by 30%. If the opponent reaches 10 poison debuffs, they are converted into an acid burn passive, dealing X damage over 5 seconds and preventing additional poison effects. When striking an opponent suffering from acid burn, all attacks are unblockable and deal a burst of physical damage. When triggering acid burn, Abomination inflicts a petrified debuff for 5 seconds, reducing regen and ability power rate by 60%. Now, acid burn is one of A-Bomb's most powerful mechanics. If he is fighting on a node that places poisons on the opponent, this can help him out even more and put even more acid burns on the opponent, which can make them absolutely slay. So putting him on a biohazard node could be really detrimental, or the Toxican node, that's always a fun node. All right, now let's take a look at these self-inflicted poisons. Every 10th basic attack landed by either champion inflicts Abomination with an indefinite poison debuff, dealing 0 damage. Each poison on Abomination grants physical resistance. While Abomination is poisoned, each time he blocks an attack, the opponent is inflicted with a weakness debuff, reducing attack by 30% for 2 seconds. So each poison on Abomination acts as a resource for his kit, essentially. So whether that be nodes, masteries, or opponents who inflict poison on him, that's going to really help him out. So even running the suicide masteries is going to help him out, right? Because you get that poison debuff on you. So now let's take a look at his specials. Special 1, the Toxic Roll. On activation, inflict a non-stacking petrified debuff for 25 seconds, reducing regen and ability power rate by 20%. That's nice. Abomination inflicts himself with +4 poisons during this attack. This is increased to +6 if his toxic aura is active. Although this petrify will not stack with itself multiple times, though, you can stack it with another petrify from acid burn, allowing him to significantly reduce or even invert the opponent's regen and ability power rate. So he can have some reverse healing, which is kind of nice to see another champion do. All right, now let's take a look at his special 2. Corrosive Spray. Activate Toxic Aura for 10 seconds, and while active, consume 1 poison debuff on Abomination every 2 seconds to keep the aura paused. Consumption is paused during the opponent's special attacks. During Toxic Aura, standing near the opponent inflicts 1 poison debuff every second, dealing X damage, direct damage over 10 seconds and reducing health recovery by 30%. So it's kind of similar to Omega Red's Death Field, is kind of like how I would look at that. Each stack of Toxic Aura beyond the first increases the speed that inflicts poison by 25%, and the Toxic Aura can stack up to 4. So that means you can increase the speed or increase the poison by 100%. So it seems like his core loop is stacking multiple Toxic Auras, right? You want to get that Toxic Auras up to inflict acid burn at quicker and quicker rates to deal more and more damage. So it seems like you want to do the special 2 at the beginning, right? And then just spam SP1s to fuel it with poison and stack up more in order to stack up more to then go to more special 2s for more auras. At least that's how it reads. We won't really know until we get our hands on him and play with him. So let's take a look at his special 3. Acidic Feast. Inflicts acid burn, dealing X direct damage over 5 seconds. Each stack in the Toxic Aura inflicts 1 additional acid burn effect. Until the next time the toxic aura expires, it becomes enhanced, increasing the time it takes to consume a poison by 0.5 seconds. This enhancement cannot stack, but can be activated even while the toxic aura isn't active yet. So I feel like you're not going to really want to use the special 3 unless you're going to be in a longer fight in order to extend the special 2 uptime. That's really kind of how I look at it. So for quicker fights, you're not going to need it, but for longer fights, it seems like that's what you're going to want to go for. All right, now let's take a look at his signature ability, Toxic Husk. So self-inflicted poison stack limit is increased to 12, and Abon self-inflicts 3 poisons at the start of each fight. Poison, petrify, and acid burn effects last plus 30% longer. So it might be beneficial to have him awaken. While it might not be needed, it may actually be pretty beneficial. Now let's take a look at his synergies. Fairest of them all with Venom the Duck and Man-Thing. Heavy attacks inflicted armor break debuff, reducing the opponent's armor rating by 250 for 15 seconds. Venom the Duck symbiote buffs gain plus 15% duration. Man-Thing, the opponent's combat power rate is reduced by up to 50% based on agitation when struck by a special attack. That's actually really nice for Man-Thing. And then Abominable Comrade with A-Bomb, OG A-Bomb. Each time a poison debuff expires or is removed from the opponent, there's a 5% chance to inflict an Enervate debuff for 3 seconds, preventing power gained when struck. 3 seconds isn't really that long, so that's not like insane synergy. Immortal Rulers with Red Skull. A-Bomb, the basic attacks required to trigger a self-poison are reduced by 2. That's actually nice. So instead of 10, it would be 8. Red Skull, each armor up buff grants plus 5% attack rating. Additionally, every 10th basic attack triggers 1 personal armor up buff. These count toward Red Skull's armor cap. That's actually nice for Red Skull. That's actually pretty nice for Red Skull. All right, let's look at Immortal Kings with King Groot. A-Bomb plus 15% potency and personal poison and acid burn effects. That's nice. King Groot, during cooldown, gain a 25% chance to inflict a poison debuff, dealing 30% of modified attack over 12 seconds each time a contact attack is landed. Additionally, the chance to gain Fury charges during cooldown is increased by a flat plus 11%. It's not bad. It's not bad. All right, and then enemies with the Hulks. All champions gain plus 155 crit rating. So that's not bad. That's not bad. Immortal Abomination is looking pretty decent. He's definitely a different type of champ that we've seen. I look forward to playing with him. Again, this is all just on paper, so we won't know how he is until we actually play with him. Everything can seem great on paper until you get your hands on it. But anyways, guys, that's all that I got. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Immortal Abomination? Do you think he is going to be a fun champion? Do you think he is going to be the next reverse healer? Or do you think Kabam should have given us something else? Let me know in the comments below and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching and enjoy this fun little PSA.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, and if you enjoyed the mediocre MCOC video full of scrub gameplay, then show Katy some love by hitting like and subscribe, man. Katy don't ask for much. Katy did ask for this. Katy did. So do like Katy did and bug people and get you to like and subscribe, man. She's doing that MCOC beautifully. Not mediocre. Katy!